welcome to another week of the BAM Banter Soccer Podcast, hosted by myself, Raxon, and KP. Say hello, KP.
Hello, KP.
And he's back. He's back to his own self. All right. At this point in the World Cup, we've gone through one round and a couple games, but we're going to just talk about the first round, and
oh man,
wow, did a lot of things happen.
Wow,
we have some fun stuff to talk about.
Oh my god.
Let's just start with the beginning, with the opening game.
Just start with the first game, opening game. If you listen to our last podcast, you might have heard that I did pip Russia to make it out with Uruguay, and that is exactly what's happening. So KP is 1 for 1 or 2 for 2, whatever you want to call that.
Yes, you did pick Russia, but I don't think we predicted Russia to be that good.
No, definitely
5-0 thrashing to Saudi Arabia. This is not a Russia team that we saw coming into the World Cup. I think that's why we both didn't think it would be so easy for them.
I saw, I knew about Alexander Golovin. I knew that he's a Manchester United target. And a lot of big clubs were looking at him. And I knew, if anything was going to happen, he was going to have to, be like that creative spark for Russia. Which he was. But the main man was Denis Cherchev, who came on in the 30th minute after Zagoev got injured, which was probably going to happen anyway because Zagoev always stays injured. And Cherchev just came on, and that first goal that Cherchev scored, beating the defender and then finishing top corner, amazing. So, yeah. And then Zuba, awkward Zuba.
Yeah, he's such a weird player to watch. He's so good, but he doesn't look comfortable out there.
He just doesn't look... He doesn't look like he cares, first of all. He just wants to, put on his Adidas tracksuit and, drink some shitty beer and smoke a cigarette.
All right, be careful. He might be Spetsnaz.
Oh, man.
He might come down on us. This may be the last episode of the podcast.
If Artem Zuba comes and gets me, guys, or if we stop podcasting and I disappear, you know what happened. It's Artem Zuba.
But yeah, Russia is looking like a strong team this World Cup. I mean... They have played Saudi Arabia. They haven't played Uruguay yet, but looks like a team that can continue this role. And do you think it is because of these players are that good, or maybe playing at home, the World Cup in Russia, Putin watching? Do you think that's playing a major key?
I think it has to be a mix of both. But that first game I think is huge for them because that's given them that boost of confidence. Like we saw them start the game pretty. Slowly, pretty cautiously, where Saudi Arabia had ball possession for a while. I think the ball possession was Saudi Arabia had 62% possession, Russia had 38%, and but Saudi Arabia only had 6 shots, none on target. And Saudi Arabia is just one of those teams. They love to keep the ball, but they don't do anything with it. A commentator said in one of the games that Saudi Arabia, in a 40-by-40 in the middle of the field, are the best team in the world. It seems like it, because you cannot get the ball off them when they start passing it around. But then there's absolutely no penetration. They get to the box and they all panic. But going back to Russia, they looked amazing in that first game, and they really did a good job. And I think Putin is a factor. But they have a really good group of players too. Yeah,
I think they definitely proved some people wrong in those first 2 games because I think we weren't the only people that were skeptical out there.
No, we weren't. For me, the reason I said Russia was there was a chance they could have done well, but I was hoping for the host to have a good run, kind of, which was why I was for Russia. But yeah.
All right, let's continue moving on. Yeah. Uruguay, of course, winning 1-0 to Egypt, which should happen, but Uruguay has been really disappointing.
Man. I watched that game. I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch that game. And if ever there was a game that will try to put you back to sleep, it was that game. It was honestly one of the worst games of football I have ever watched. Uruguay just looked lazy. Egypt didn't want to attack. And Egypt was just defending, and Uruguay was just so lazy with their attacks. Suarez and Cavani were isolated. The midfield was doing absolutely nothing except the one kid they have, their one center midfielder, Bentancur or something, and he plays for Juventus. He was a spark. He was definitely the only spark in that team, and he was the only person trying things. Suarez looked like he had a monkey on his shoulder, could not do anything, and yeah, it was just a terrible game. Uruguay got lucky with that header right at the end. But that's what they say. You can't. Egypt started giving away set pieces in dangerous areas towards the end, and you just can't do that in the World Cup because that's what Uruguay looks for. Uruguay, like their coach is he's like 95 years old, or maybe 110. I don't know. But this is like I think his first World Cup was when Uruguay won in 1930. But
Jesus.
yeah, but they're playing to win. And I don't fault that, but probably one of the worst teams to watch that might go far this World Cup.
Yeah, and it's surprising that they might be one of these teams that are so hard to watch because they've got really prolific style players in Cavani and Suarez.
They're so isolated, though.
But these are guys that you see at PSG and in Barcelona do amazing things with teams around them. And it's
Yeah.
not like Uruguay's a bad team around two really good players.
No,
Uruguay
definitely not.
on paper is a good team.
They have, but what their problem pretty much is that they have two great center backs, and then they have two great strikers, and everything around is not that great. Muslera, definitely a good goalkeeper, but their wing backs are decent. Sacerez is like a center back turned left back, so not too much quality. Varela's okay. It's like his fifth start. Yeah, the only player who was really trying to even play was Betancourt, and everyone else was just fine sitting back, waiting for a goal, get a draw. And yeah, I mean, Uruguay they're not going for it so far. Maybe that's to, shock teams later in their competition.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they are going to get out of their group, but
And then
yeah,
they might
maybe
start
later
playing
down the round they're going to have to. 100% they're going to have to. It's not if or will they, it's they have to.
Or they're out. It's
yeah,
as
if they
simple
play
as
like
that.
this against any other team in the World
Against
Cup,
Russia.
Against Russia, they're gonna lose.
Russia is gonna, but what I will say about Uruguay, their defense is just rock solid.
Oh yeah, with Godin and Jimenez, like those
yeah,
are.
and
those
even
are
the
two
other
solid
two guys, they're not as good offensively, but defensively, they're amazing. And it's just the way they're set up. Everyone moves back, everyone defends. No one really does anything too adventurous. No one makes crazy runs. And I guess that's the kind of team you're going to get. And, like, even in that game, Uruguay dominated possession, 59% possession. And they just had one goal from a free kick on the right side, and it was a header, one set piece. And that's all they could do. And that possession really doesn't tell any story because they weren't doing nothing with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Just passing it around for the sake of that.
All right, let's continue moving on with Iran.
Yeah.
Another team in the group that may or may not have been on people's radar. But that first game, it was a pretty even match. Not the best football we've ever seen, but entertaining nonetheless.
It was entertaining because Morocco really went for it in the beginning. And, I think everyone thought Morocco. 68% possession Morocco had in that game. 68% possession and just, they were playing expansive, good football, and Iran once again just parked the bus.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do you think about that game?
I thought watching that game, it was entertaining. It was something that I could enjoy watching, but with watching Iran play, sometimes they can move the ball well. We've seen that they can move the ball well, but they just, I don't know if it's they don't want to or they're just stuck in playing this back line because they're very well organized. They're very well organized on defense, but it doesn't really look like they're going on counters. They're not really doing much with the ball. When they do, it's really great football, but it's kind of one of those teams that I don't really know how to gauge what kind of team they are.
Yeah, Iran, they look decent, and in attack, they're decent in attack, but what they do have a very solid defense. That's just gonna be if Iran do make it, which will be, one of the shocks of the tournament, because they would go through at the expense of Portugal or Spain. But I think Spain's gonna probably go through. Portugal though, as well as they played against Spain, and I could see them losing to Iran, or even a draw against Iran would just make things I think Portugal will go through with a draw against. Actually, no. Iran will. What will happen if there's a draw?
If there's a
them?
draw, that means.
But then their goal difference is the same too. Oh, Portugal has scored more goals
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
So
Portugal
will go through. Portugal will go through because I think it goes goal difference then goal scored.
Yeah. So then continue moving on into Portugal and Spain. That was a fun game.
Yeah,
that was a
we
very
watched
fun
that
game.
together. We that was a game that we'd been talking about for a while that we wanted to watch. It was from the first round probably the big game, and my God,
What a game! I mean, we were up on our feet watching that game.
multiple times.
Excuse me.
Just as soon as you put it on, as soon as the game started, 4 minutes in, the penalty, and was that a penalty?
I think it was a penalty. I mean, in the rules, it's
In the rules, yeah, but like.
if it wasn't in the box, I don't think it would have been a free kick.
Yeah, because
But
I think
because of that.
Yeah, because Ronaldo baited Nacho. Like it was one of those where I think Ronaldo knew that Nacho was gonna lunge in for that tackle, and Ronaldo just the moment he saw Nacho coming in full steam ahead, he knows Nacho. From they play together. He knew Nacho was gonna just come in for the tackle, and Ronaldo was like, you know what, step over and dive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a professional style play.
It wasn't even a dive really, but he baited that tackle.
Yeah.
Which is, just good on Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's smart playing. I mean, you're gonna do what you can to get your team ahead. But
And
that game really, it did feel like a final. The way
Spain
that
came
Spain
back
played,
straight away.
Yeah, right back at him, really
Diogo
high up the
Costa.
field, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Playing tiki taka, playing the Spain that we know.
And that Costa goal
yeah.
where he juked like 3 players.
Yeah.
And that was a good goal. But I think the talking point of this game happened in the 44th minute. That shot from Ronaldo.
Yes,
De
beating De Gea. We were talking about this in the final with Karius and how you have to be smart with the ball. You have to decide whether punch or catch.
Yeah.
And just an uncharacteristic
like
mistake
De Gea,
by De Gea, one of the best in the world.
Yeah. And I feel like that's probably made him nervous, but also made the Spanish players a little nervous now because,
Yeah,
you
now
go
you're
into
no
the
longer...
tournament thinking, oh, our keeper is the one person, we can trust, and we know he's going to keep at least, like, the decent shots out and maybe make some spectacular saves. But that was just, he gave a goal away to Ronaldo. But then Spain came back again.
Yeah, they just the whole game it was just back and forth. There was no clear dominance from either team. Maybe you could say Spain just in the midfield was a little bit stronger.
Spain dominated, but the thing was like when you look at the stats, Spain had 67% possession. Portugal had 3 shots on target, 3 goals.
Yeah.
Spain had 6 shots on target, 13 shots total. On one of those 13 shots was that Isco shot, that bounced on the line.
Yeah.
And also, I think someone hit the side of the post.
Yes, yeah.
And just, they were going at him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Spain definitely had their opportunities to make this a, 4-3, 5-3 kind of game.
And Spain is honestly, I don't know, they're showing their quality.
They are.
Because they look like the best team in this tournament right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think they definitely look like a team that can... Maybe not dominant like we would expect from a number 1 team in the world or something like that, but they're definitely a team that can come back.
They can go all the way.
Yeah, they can go all the way. They can, if they get punched in the mouth, they can come back and punch
They'll
you
come
right
back at you, yeah. And that's the thing we didn't see from Spain 4 years ago.
Right, yeah, definitely. Spain last World Cup definitely is not the same team that we're seeing right now.
Because they were so used to just having the ball and scoring and then just sitting that they forgot how to really come back in games. When other teams attack you, like the way Portugal decided to at times, on the counter. But yeah, that was probably the game of the first round.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's keep going on with some of the bigger teams that we're going to see. France, Australia. France won the game 2-1, but it was not great football.
No.
France barely got out of that.
They barely got out of there, and it was an own goal in the end that really it was a bad touch. And I mean, 3 of the goals out of the 2 were penalties. The penalty from Griezmann, the penalty from Jedinak.
Yeah, VAR was involved.
Yeah, it wasn't a really good game.
No, it really wasn't, especially for one of the teams I picked as one of the best teams in the World Cup that had,
calling them
depth.
favorites.
Yeah,
and
with their depth, you'd expect this team to, kind of blow out Australia.
Yeah.
But we're seeing this as an issue in this tournament, as a lot of these big teams are having issues.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the pressure of being in the World Cup for a lot of these guys. It's maybe their first time or second time in a major tournament. And then you also have the pressure of being a favorite. Maybe it's getting to some of these teams, you know?
I think so. I mean, like, Pogba, though, actually looked good after a long time. If you notice, he doesn't have any crazy hairstyle right now. You know, he just has his regular black hair. He looks like he's there for business for once,
Yeah.
you know? It's not the Pogba we know. This is the Pogba who, you know, maybe wants to really win that World Cup for France, and he knows that if he plays the way he can, you know, they have a good chance.
Yeah, definitely Pogba I thought was pretty good in that game, and then within the absence of Giroud, who did end up playing later, I think you kind of saw that absence of that big striker target,
Yeah.
you know?
And they like to start him, you know?
Yeah,
They like
no,
to
he
start
fits that
Giroud.
system, you know. But with Griezmann and Mbappe and those guys
Yeah.
feeding each other the ball, I think that's what makes them so dangerous. Is they also have these dribblers with this striker.
Yeah, they have that option of Giroud, who's always an option on, you know, set pieces. He has a great shot. He can
Even on
score
defense.
acrobatic goals, and he'll win you headers in defense as well. You know, just he's a big guy, and but yeah, just France was not convincing.
No, not
I'd
at
like to
all.
see more from France, and another team talking about not convincing. Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina with Iceland.
What was that?
You know, that the PK miss by Messi, we were just talking about it before the podcast. You know, Messi's now, 5 for 11 on PKs
Yeah.
in all competitions. You know, maybe he shouldn't be taking PKs.
I know.
I don't know what it is about Messi in the World Cup and big tournaments that he still shows up. I mean, it's Messi, but it's not the Messi that everyone expects.
Yeah, and you know, nobody on his team does him any favors.
Oh, no, not at all. Especially for a team that is that strong. Di
They're
Maria,
good. You know,
Higuain, Agüero.
They just look like 11 strangers.
Yeah.
Who've been put on a field, who've been told to play soccer, and because they're really good,
They're supposed to be
they
good.
kind of
They're supposed to be better.
yeah, and they beat people sometimes, but you know, friendly like 3 months ago, they lost 6-1 to Spain in a friendly, without Messi, I think, but still. And I actually called this result. I thought Iceland was gonna draw.
Yeah, I think we both
Argentina.
said that Iceland is one of
Yeah.
those teams not to really sleep on because
Yeah.
they're a team with 30,000 people showed up from Iceland to this game. Iceland's one of those teams that has nothing to lose.
Nope.
This is their first World Cup, and they play like there's nothing to
and
lose.
they
They
just-
want to go out there and
You know,
play.
they just put 5 lines of 5 in defense. There were multiple moments in the match where they had all 10 men in their own box defending Argentina. And Argentina was just out of ideas. They couldn't pick up the pace. Every time Messi got the ball, he tried to play those 1-2s. They never came off. You know, because he doesn't have Iniesta to play those 1-2s with.
Yeah,
or he
exactly.
doesn't have even Busquets, who's so good at them. Or Suarez. Like, he doesn't have those players anymore. Aguero, again, would just keep going. And yeah, Argentina and Iceland just not a very good
Yeah,
game.
honestly, it seemed like Iceland controlled the game.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't expect that against Argentina.
No, but,
But let's keep going. In the
Yeah.
other Group C game, it was Denmark and Peru. We thought that this game would almost decide who else would go in the game through the group.
Yeah, and this was one of those games. Peru came out of the blocks, all attack, and Denmark just sat back, absorbed pressure, slowed the game down. Every time they had the ball, they slowed their game down. Christian Cueva looked amazing.
Yeah.
Paulo Guerrera came on later, looked really good. Jefferson Farfan. And Peru looked amazing. And in the end, Denmark just nicked it.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. In Denmark, you saw their counters with Christian Eriksen. You saw their
Yeah.
quality. I think that's the difference between Peru and Denmark is Denmark's European quality of counters and
Yeah.
being able to pick out those
Yeah.
those small passes really
And,
helped them out.
Peru just wasted.
Yeah.
Peru were wasteful because they created more than enough to win the game.
Yeah.
But they were just wasteful with their opportunities, and then Denmark, with the few opportunities they had, because I don't think they had a lot of clear goal scoring chances. Because Peru had 17 shots, but only 6 on target. Denmark had 10 shots, only 3 on target. But they made one of those 3 count, and that's all that matters. 1-0 is the same as 3-0 in this World Cup. Win is a win.
And then next in Group D was the next match was Croatia and Nigeria.
This was a weird match.
It
'cause
was.
We thought Nigeria was going to be good.
Yeah, we thought Nigeria would show up a little bit more than they have, and they really didn't. Maybe it's just
looked so lethargic.
Yeah, maybe it's just it's a lot of young guys. It's a lot of guys that really haven't been there in the big game, and going against
know.
a tough team
Yeah.
of Croatia.
I mean,
Croatia is tough.
I understand that, and all that is true, but just they did not play well. They didn't come out of the blocks well. Like, it was just bad. It was just a bad game, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, what can else we really say about that? Croatia just handled the game.
Croatia handled the game well, and Nigeria just played a terrible game. They just looked like there was no desire. It looked like
really.
they didn't want to win, you know. And like these players are not bad. I mean, Croatia, of course, with the two, Rakitic and Modric playing you balls, it's something else. But I think, and also the own goal from Matebo, Modric scored the one penalty, so it wasn't like a great game. But John Obi Mikel wasted in that number 10 position. He's a number 6, you know. He's a
exactly.
CDM.
Yeah, we saw nothing from Iwobi. We really saw nothing from anyone.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, if you think about it, John Obi Mikel plays CDM. Victor Moses is a right back, and you're playing these two guys as like the focal points of your attack. What do you expect? Like, let some young guys in. Let Musa start, play Obi Mikel in as a CDM. You know what he's used to doing. The guy, I mean, you can't play a CDM as a center attacking mid and hope just because he's played for big teams that it's gonna work.
Right.
It was just bad strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see much coming forward for Nigeria. You know, this is one of those teams that we thought would do a lot better. You know, maybe we're wrong. You know, it's okay to be wrong, but I don't really see anything else from Nigeria coming up. I think Peru is gonna do a little bit more against Nigeria. Same with Denmark.
Oh wait, no. Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Iceland versus Croatia is gonna be the big game now.
Yeah. Yes,
Because
definitely.
I think that's gonna be if Iceland win that, they have a big
very good
chance.
Very good chance of getting through, which would be amazing to see a team like Iceland.
Yeah, no, I know, but Nigeria play Iceland first, and if Nigeria can win that, then they might.
Then it's a wide open group.
Get their hopes up again, but yeah, let's go on to Group E, which was Costa Rica and Serbia.
Yeah. Costa Rica showed a little bit of why it's tough in CONCACAF, but it wasn't really enough from Costa Rica.
And like Serbia, the 1-0 scoreline does not do it justice. It was a great free kick by Kolarov.
Oh, an amazing free kick. Kolarov just showed his absolute class.
Braxton had him on fantasy.
Yeah,
actually.
I did. Yeah, he gave me 16 points.
It was a good pick. Yeah, but same thing, Serbia, they played very well, actually. Could have scored 3, 4, 5 goals, but again, wasteful.
Yeah.
And that's been a pattern in this World Cup, right? These teams playing really well and just being extremely wasteful with chances.
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing that a lot in this World Cup. Is just a lot of missed opportunities.
This is so far, like in my opinion, this is a pretty low-scoring World Cup.
Oh, definitely. Besides the Russia game.
Yeah.
And that was a Panama game.
Belgium game, yeah. Besides Russia and Belgium, no one has really put a marker down, and Russia now has already scored 8 goals this World Cup.
But also saying that, we have yet to have a 0-0 draw.
We have yet to have a 0-0 draw. Every team is going for it, but the 1-0s, 1-1s, cagey affairs, But yeah, Serbia, Costa Rica, there's not much to really talk about. Milinkovic-Savic looked really good. I mean, there was a lot of hope of him. Mitrovic almost scored multiple times. And in the end, it was Kolarov. And, Serbia's happy with that. They'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I take 3 points when you're going up against Brazil and Switzerland. I think, it's going to be, those matches are going to be interesting. I wouldn't count Serbia out against those two teams.
I would not at all. Let's go to Brazil and Switzerland.
Yeah, another big team. Brazil, one of the favorites.
And they started
that crazy attacking
off
team.
so well.
Yeah, they started playing great, and then all of a sudden they just fell into Switzerland's hands. I don't know what it is with some of these teams that they just don't want to show who they are.
There were 10 fouls on Neymar out of like the 19 total fouls, and this is an incredible statistic. Brazil had 21 shots, 5 on target.
Jeez.
Switzerland had 6 shots, 2 on target.
Yeah.
And one of them was the goal. And that's all you need.
Yeah, it's all. Switzerland got a point.
Counts, they got a point against Brazil, and
they beat Costa Rica.
Yeah, and they probably now think that they're in the driving seat for this group, because all these teams, the thing is, the Brazil game was the big one. Mm-hmm. Whoever does against Brazil is what kind of decides your chances, and that draw now, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one of those groups that actually could it's wide open. Even with a team
Yeah.
like Brazil in there, this is wide open.
It's wide open again.
I'm not gonna say it's going to happen, but Brazil could. There's a chance
Brazil could
here
lose to
that
Serbia.
Brazil could not make it
Not
out.
make it out. Yeah, and like I feel like that's just been another, just it's been consistent in this whole World Cup so far, where these teams that we were sure of making it out, just haven't played up to potential, and having played up to potential. Let's talk about Germany, Mexico.
Germany, Mexico. I was very happy about that game, being of Mexican descent.
But
I was watching this game at a bar that was mostly Mexicans.
Yeah.
We all had our flags. We were all having a great time, and Germany played like a little bit of a lackluster Germany, but Mexico really took it to them.
Mexico played incredibly well.
Yeah, until Osorio decided to go super defensive.
Yeah.
I thought we could have scored 2, 3, even 4 more times against Germany.
Every time you guys got on the attack, there were a bunch of chances for Layun.
Yeah.
There were chances for Lozano. There were times they overdid it.
Yeah,
there
definitely.
Were times they overdid
I
it.
think that
they just
is
didn't shoot.
Yeah, I think that is to the fault of Osorio. This is my one problem with Osorio. He's the tinker. He's the guy who likes to change his lineup. In the lineup, they played 4 in the back, but Layun was playing right mid.
Yeah.
Almost as a right winger, not a wing back
Layun
that he
was a
normally
right
is.
winger, and what I told you before, Hector Herrera does play left wing back.
Yeah.
For Mexico, which is strange.
Yeah, it is very strange because he's a shooter.
He's a center mid.
He's a center mid. He can control the ball.
Yeah, he plays left wing back. Like we saw that he was a defensive wing back. Sometimes coming in at center back and letting, I think it was Salcido to run on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Salcido.
Yeah. And just I don't know. It was a strange team. Yeah, or not not Herrera. I was talking about Gallardo. Gallardo was playing
Left wing back.
left wing back. Yeah, but Layun is a right back. And
Yeah.
he was playing right wing, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
he was playing way up the field, and on those counters, it was all Layun, and Layun isn't really much of a shooter. Think if you had Corona in there, which I thought
yeah.
Corona was gonna start
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but and maybe Corona can finish at least one of those. Tecatito, he's a great player in Mexico,
Yeah.
but Layun was there instead. I think that may have been
I think that was the strategy, though, because they started Layun in that right wing position, knowing that he's going to fall back when the Germans do attack, and Mexico could constantly go from, a 4-2-3-1 into something like a 5-2-3.
Yeah.
Almost, with like
almost
Gallardo,
overloading
Layun,
them
Moreno,
defense.
Ayala, Salcido all getting back, Gallardo and Herrera right in front of them, and then actually they did leave Lozano, Hernandez, and Vela forward for the whole first half.
Yeah.
So they were always defending with 7 men, those 7 guys, and they just had Lozano, Hernandez, and Vela just hanging out in front, which was dangerous. It's a dangerous tactic, to do against Germany. But hey, it paid off. It paid off great dividends because that's where the goal came from those like overload counters over and over again.
Yeah, and we talk about how dangerous that is in a lot of counters, but Mexico possessed the ball very well against Germany.
They were great keeping the ball.
Well, the first 20 minutes, Werner didn't touch the ball.
Absolutely.
Werner had very few touches the entire game.
No, Mexico was great keeping the ball.
Yeah, they shut down Ozil. They shut down Werner. Mueller was not really an option. So they were playing, it was a lot through Draxler just because he had that advantage against Layun. When Layun was up the field, Draxler was able to counter. So it was a little bit, Layun was going to be chasing the ball. But besides that, Germany had nothing. They had no response to Mexico.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah, and I think that, not just saying this as a Mexican fan, but I think this makes Mexico one of the top teams in the World Cup because they're able to throw out a team that can beat the team they're playing.
Sure.
And
that's what really it comes down to in the World Cup. Because what is it? You only play 7 games in a World Cup, and you win the World Cup. If you win 7 games, you win the World Cup. And if Mexico can constantly do this, maybe the quarter, maybe even the semifinals isn't
It's not a stretch.
It's not a stretch. If they play the way they played against Germany in every game, and they don't do what Mexican teams have done in the past, which is play down to opposition.
Yeah.
Where almost like when they're playing a bad team, they start playing badly.
Yeah.
But when they're playing a good team, they start playing well. It's a very strange thing, and Mexico is one of the only countries that does that.
They do that consistently.
Consistently, they will beat a great team, and then they will lose to a minnow.
Right.
or like, you know, I mean, there are no minnows in this group though. Coming to the next game.
Yeah, the next game, Sweden Korea. You know, it was a good game.
Yeah.
I'm a little salty. Yeah,
Yeah.
Korean Mexican. I'm a little salty because of the VAR use in there. It was a penalty. I'm not arguing it wasn't a penalty.
But it
I'm
was
arguing
so
the way
late.
that they called it because the
It was so
VAR.
late.
This is my issue with VAR. They have to be consistent with it. If
Yeah.
you're gonna use VAR, use it, but use it at the right time. Use it, proactively.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Like,
penalty wasn't called. Korea went on the counter. Korea got into the box of Sweden, and then the ref
They
called
stopped
it
it.
for
Yeah,
VAR.
I mean,
VAR is supposed to be called when there's a stoppage of play.
yeah.
So say Korea had scored on that counter,
Yeah.
they can now look at the VAR, see that it was a penalty, and give Sweden a penalty. So
Sure.
maybe this game would have ended 1-1 instead of
Maybe.
1-0.
I know.
So I think that is a huge issue for the refs that we need to
Yeah,
there's gonna
and
be an
it's
issue
so
with VAR.
new. It's so VAR is so new, and the inconsistency on VAR is
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of the commentators say, "Oh, why not use VAR? Why not use VAR?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's because they're always watching and they're always looking, and then they call the referee and be like, "Oh, you need to check the camera."
But they've been missing major things.
Yeah, these are things that
constantly.
they gotta really be quick
What
on.
are they doing? Like, yeah, it was unbelievable. But Sweden scored with a penalty. It was not the most exciting game. It was a decent game, but that's what I'm saying. The World Cup has just been like this, where most games have just been cagey affairs, and like no team has been able to outright like dominate
Yeah,
anyone yet.
I mean, you looked at this game in Sweden Korea. There were something like 20 plus fouls in the first half.
yeah,
It was scrappy. I mean, most of them were Swedish players going down, which I thought was hilarious because I think the average height is 5'8" in Korea,
Yeah.
and the average height in Sweden is well over 6 foot.
yeah.
So I think it's very funny the fact that these small Korean players are able to not quote unquote knock them down. But it was a exciting game.
It was.
It
It
was
was
a lot of
exciting.
back and forth.
Yeah.
There was a point in there where Korea showed what being in Asian countries where they kind of ended up soaking up pressure a lot. They didn't go on the counter a lot. They didn't really play well, and then all of a sudden they came back.
Yeah.
When they started making some subs, things started to change again.
Yeah, but it was just one of those games. Sweden, we know about the Swedish defense. They went 180 minutes not conceding to Italy.
Yeah.
They knocked Netherlands out of the World Cup pretty much because that was Netherlands' place,
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone expected France and Netherlands to be there, but it was France and Sweden. And so you know what you're getting with Sweden. You're not going to get a lot of chances. And if you're even a little wasteful like Korea was, they'll score one scrappy goal out of anything,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened. A simple 1-0, and now they have a great chance.
Yeah, they do have a chance of getting out of
they
the
have a
group.
great chance of
Germany,
getting out.
flubs one against Sweden this week.
Yeah, because Sweden is going to be so hard to score against.
Yeah, Sweden is going to 100% play back and soak up Germany's pressure and
Yeah.
see if they can defend
And-
90 minutes against Germany.
Yeah, and which honestly might not be the best idea.
No, not at all. Because
Because
Germany's going to
the
come out with
reason
vengeance.
Mexico did what they did was because they came at Germany.
Yeah, and
and
they had
Germany was
possession.
not expecting that. Germany, most teams don't come at Germany.
Yeah,
When Brazil came at Germany, they lost 7-1.
yeah.
Very few teams have come at Germany and just outplayed them. And this was one of those games. Spain did it like 6-8 years ago, and they won the Euro that year or something. And this reminded me of that game. But let's move on to Group G. Belgium, Panama.
This game started out very even. I was very surprised with how Panama was playing in the first 30 minutes.
They were playing very well.
They were holding it together. They were showing why they're in this World Cup. They're scrappy. They like to play defense. They like to play.
And they were fouling a lot. They were doing their thing. Belgium, was there ever a time where Belgium didn't seem in control?
No, not at all.
I don't think there was a time at all where it seemed like the match was like, Panama was going to win. It was just dependent on...
Yeah, it was kind of just Panama holding
When is
on.
Belgium going to score?
Mhm.
And once that first goal went in from Mertens, which was an incredible
The
goal.
outside the foot shot.
Yeah,
Oh.
with on the volley, just unbelievable. Then you knew the floodgates were open because then Panama had to attack. And after that, it was just Lukaku with 2 goals. Lukaku, maybe a Golden Boot contender. If Belgium
Definitely
go
has a
far
chance
in this
for it.
tournament,
Mhm.
I feel like he's going to score in every game they play well in. And a lot of that comes down to Thierry Henry not being the second assistant coach for Belgium. He got that job, and he's probably helping Lukaku more than anyone else can. Because, who doesn't want to learn from Thierry Henry how
Yeah,
to be a
of
great
course.
striker?
Yeah, Thierry Henry easily one of the best.
Yeah, and Lukaku's finishing already looks better. He's been putting away those chances, playing really well for Belgium. Became their record scorer
Mhm.
And just, good job, Belgium. The second game, though, was much, much more interesting, and things happened in that game.
Yes.
England, Tunisia. England came out of the. Oh my God, I've never seen an English team, come out like that. They came out looking like one of the best teams in the world.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They came out looking like, a world #1 team, because they were unstoppable. They were sweeping counters, and just every time you saw them get the ball for the first 30 minutes, till they scored that goal, every time you saw them get the ball, you thought it was going to be a goal. 11 minutes in, Harry Kane scores, and you just thought, oh, the floodgates are open now. There's no way. Tunisia has no chance, and England was just attack after attack after attack, and then that soft penalty.
Right. Yep.
What, that guy ran into Kyle Walker's arm.
Yeah.
You could see it. He ran into Kyle Walker's arm, hit his face on his arm almost, clutched his face, lay down. Referee gave a penalty. I guess, okay, fine, VAR. You give it a penalty, but then Harry Kane gets, WWE moves, done
Yeah,
on him
Harry Kane got taken
twice.
down. VAR
Twice.
is supposed to be watching and all of this and that.
Yeah.
And VAR had a missed call.
Yeah. And twice.
Yeah.
Twice Harry Kane, the guy wasn't even looking at the ball. He just grabbed Harry Kane and wrestled him to the ground. And, knowing how good England are on set pieces, which they are, they're incredible on set pieces. Tunisia, one of the dirtiest teams I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Every time England had a free kick, they would stand in front of the ball. They would not let them take free kicks. They would kick the ball away. They would, throw-ins. They would roll the ball out of play. That kind of those niggling things.
Yeah, you get that gets into another team's head.
Yeah, and England just started looking like plain old England again.
Yeah,
drawing in the first game.
Yeah, exactly. They started to play down. They weren't really the team that, they've got a lot of quality. This is not a bad England squad.
Dele Alli, though, did look like something was wrong with his leg. He finally came off. And then when Loftus-Cheek and Rashford came on, they turned it on.
Back up.
They turned it on. Loftus-Cheek, incredible. Like, he had a pretty good season in the Premier League. But Marcus Rashford, that guy has no fear.
No, not at all.
Marcus
Same with
Rashford
Lingard.
just came on. Yeah.
Both these guys
Lingard.
are young kids playing like they're veterans,
Yeah, and they do not care. And, like, Loftus-Cheek had a great season. He plays for Chelsea. He's one of Chelsea's 221 loanees that are out all across the world. But yeah, Loftus-Cheek played for Crystal Palace this season, had a great season, and him and Rashford were just the difference this game. They started penetrating Tunisia more, and then I think it was the free kick from Trippier, headed by John Stones, a save. And then Harry Kane again.
What's that finish?
It wasn't even a save. It was a missed header. Mm-hmm. And just Harry Kane again. What a header.
Yeah. Just
right
winning
place.
The points, getting those 3 points.
Right place,
well-deserved 3 points
Absolutely,
for England.
yeah.
Besides those, 25 minutes in the middle of the game where England kind of dozed off a little bit.
They just looked nervous.
Yeah. But
so nervous.
Kane brought one back, and they definitely deserved that win. I thought England played very well throughout the game. They definitely had their missed chances, but they were always on the front foot.
Yeah. Funny stat. That was the first time England scored 2 goals in their last 10 World Cup matches. They haven't scored more than 1 in the last 10 matches.
Holy cow.
And now England are also unbeaten against African nations. 4 wins, 3 draws.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting group going ahead.
Yeah.
Who ends up winning the group, England or Belgium?
Winning the group is the whole thing in this one. I don't think there's any doubt who's going to go through.
Who's going to get out, yeah. But definitely whoever wins the group is, I think, potentially going to have a better chance of getting further in the World Cup.
Yeah, I think so. And the last group, this was an interesting
game. It was an interesting group, and we both combined called what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, first game, Colombia and Japan.
Yeah, I said Poland was going to win. You said Poland was going to lose. You said Colombia was going to lose. And yeah, Senegal and Japan came out, but Japan and Colombia, that
what did I say? I mean, the first thing I said was why I don't like Colombia is just the lack of discipline on that team. They're all very cagey kind of guys. They all have great skills, but they don't play well as a team. They don't do things right at the right time.
Carlos Sanchez,
the red card in the first few minutes.
And jumps up with his hand out trying to save that ball, and that's That's just stupid. It was going towards goal. You knew it was going. I mean, concede that goal. But a red card and a penalty.
Yeah.
That's a lot worse than just conceding one goal and then trying to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're against a team like Japan, who's extremely fit.
Yeah.
They're
always gonna be fit. They're always gonna be disciplined.
Gonna be fitter than you. And then now you have 10 men to go
do something.
To like run around with Japan.
Yeah, and they got one back. They did, but Japan was able to get another and win this game.
And it was just gonna happen. You could tell because Colombia was just tiring out. James wasn't starting, and just Japan. Well deserved victory.
You can't get a red card in a World Cup. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Every team in a World Cup, if you get a red card, they're going to punish you.
Absolutely. And Japan kept
you.
62% possession, which was almost unexpected.
Yeah, from an Asian team against a South American team.
We expected Colombia to just dominate this game, keep possession, but if past will show us, Asian teams always get out of groups.
Yeah, they really do. And this is actually the first time an Asian team has beaten a South American team. It doesn't happen.
Time?
Yeah, it's the first time. It doesn't happen because the
yeah.
strength of South America. You
Played
think about it.
18, won 1, draw 3, lost 14. Wow, and this is also the first World Cup tournament in which since 1974, in which 4 South American teams have not won their first game.
Yeah. Well, let's continue on with the other one. Big Senegal beating Poland.
Last game of this week, Poland versus Senegal. Senegal just came out of, they came out strong. And that first one was an own goal. Idrissa Gueye, he just took a shot, shot in the dark. Who cares? It's 0-0. Hit Sionek, who was actually filling in for their best player, who is Gillick. I think Gillick was out this game. And I think that was, the biggest problem. Because Camille Gillick is, their best center back. He is their, big guy in the back who stops everything, who's been, keeping the defense tight. And then that own goal from Sionek just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that goal from Niang, though, that was sketchy because he was outside the field and he ran back on when Poland played a back pass. And I think the Polish players didn't know that he was legal to be on the field at that point.
Yeah, I think that's one of those, you kind of just, you take a play off and, when
he never actually went off the field.
Yeah.
Which is what it was. He never actually went off the field. And he's fast enough to, once he starts running, the Polish player didn't even know he was there. And, Szczesny saw it, so Szczesny ran up. And then there was just, Niang got one touch and it was over. At 2-0, you knew it was over. Krychowiak pulled one back, but... Senegal, well-deserved.
Yeah, well-deserved, especially against a Poland team that really didn't look like themselves. We didn't see a Poland team that we thought would come out here, with this... Because they are a strong team as well. They are very good in their own right. It's just... They are one of those teams
Milik
that kind of
looked so bad.
Yeah, it was one of those days where, just a team like Poland has these kind of days where they just kind of shut off.
Yeah, man, Artur, Milik was one of the players that I remember, watching and just thinking, he was just not there fully. He was not passing the ball well enough. Every time he got the ball, he was losing it. Couldn't really, score. Yeah, it was just not very good.
Yeah. All right, with that, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back to you with some thoughts on the teams as a whole, the World Cup as a whole, VAR, and all of that, and we'll come back to you in just a few moments. All right, and we're back with the last segment of this episode of the podcast. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple things that happened during the World Cup that are just general conversation. So let's start first. Look at the top 5, top 10 teams. Only 2 of them had won their games.
Yeah.
This is a huge trend. It's not just a one-off with Germany losing to Mexico, which was an upset. Everyone said it was a huge upset. I don't think it was that big of an upset. But you're looking at Argentina tying with Iceland, looking at Brazil tying with the Swiss, and the Swiss are a good team as well. But what is it this year that these top teams that everyone thought coming into the World Cup, France, Argentina, Brazil, Germany, coming into this World Cup, they were going to dominate, and they haven't.
Just a no-go.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
These teams.
What is it? I don't know what to tell you, man. They just haven't played like, haven't played up to how good they are, I'd say, in some respects. And
Yeah, it almost seems like these teams are playing down to the other levels.
yeah,
They're not
and
really seeing a lot from a lot of teams.
yeah, and like a lot of it is, you can complain all you want, oh, teams are parking the bus, oh, like no one's here to play football. But come on, man, if you were in those teams' positions if you were this minnow team, this mid-level team that's squaring up against, Brazil, Argentina, against Germany, Mexico on the other hand, I'd almost classified them in the other bracket now. The way they played, if they play like that for the rest of the tournament, they're not a minnow team. They're not one of the teams that might make it. They're a team that might win it.
Yeah.
If they play every game like that. But you're saying they're falling back and all. This has been happening for years. It's not a new thing. But the good big teams, the teams that actually won the World Cups, the teams that actually did something, they broke through that. They broke through the defense. When teams would play all defense, put 10 men behind the ball, those teams would manage to win the game in the end, Because it's not a new thing. Like, people have been parking the bus for years against big teams because that's all you can do. They're going to have long periods of possession. Brazil did. Argentina did. And Colombia did. And, like, that's it, you just do what you can. And, they're getting draws. So, great. Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is not just the big teams, but I'm seeing a lot of teams this year where it's almost playing it safe. You're not seeing a lot of high pressure teams at all.
Yeah.
Mexico was a high pressure team.
England was
a high pressure team.
But that's
Portugal was a high pressure team, but against Spain,
tiki
taka around.
But
them.
yeah, but like
not besides
really.
that, no one has come out of the gates let's go play this
yeah.
game. Even Germany,
Russia has.
Blitzkrieg.
Russia has.
Yeah, Russia has, surprisingly, but that's 4 out of the 30 something teams.
Yeah, everyone just seems like content with just kind of passing it around the back
and hoping for a goal instead of making a goal.
Yeah, instead of like trying to make goals. And I think the problem is, and it's weird to say, but like the way Rashford played, you didn't see that same want from even Neymar or Messi.
Right.
Like, Rashford came on and he wanted to make a difference. He had that, that desire that I'm going to do something now. And you're just not seeing that. And when Messi is trying to do something, he has 5 guys on him. That's when it's time for the guys like Meza and Pavon and
you
Aguero,
would expect someone to
Di
step
Maria.
up.
Like, you're naming off these players and you're like, oh, they're all fucking like, insane players. But what are they doing? Nothing. And you have guys like Higuain on the bench, and you're just
someone who could come in and make a difference, but we're not seeing anyone make any kind of difference.
No.
At all.
The best sub I've seen so far was when Zuba came on.
Yeah, Zuba
Saudi,
in the first game.
And he scored after like 89 seconds.
Yeah, and then now he's starting.
And he scored again. But like, Russia won it, And these teams, after that first round, the way all these teams played, I don't think it's going to stay like that. I think this second round, things are going to, let's say, go back to normal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, what should happen are these big teams should realize, like, hey, we just got punched in the mouth. We have to go prove ourselves now, especially Germany being the World Cup reigning champ. Yeah. Losing to Mexico 1-0. They're going to come out against Sweden. If I was them, I would be, we have to embarrass Sweden.
It's been 2 World Cups in a row, though. The winner's been knocked out.
Yeah.
In the group stage.
I think it's been longer than that too. I think it's been 3 now.
3, maybe, and like I think it's something like 3 out of the last 4 or something like that. It is 3 out of the last 4 because I think France got knocked out in 2002, then Brazil managed to reach like round of 16 in 2006. Italy got knocked out group stage 2010. And Spain got a whooping,
they got their ass whooped last time. Oh, my gosh.
And they got destroyed by the Netherlands and then just lost again. And these teams, like Germany, is one of those teams, though, that I don't see that happening to.
Yeah.
Because Germany, they thrive on discipline, but that team did not have any discipline.
No, not at all. I mean, they didn't have the ball to have any discipline.
Half the time, yeah.
They were chasing the game the whole time.
Yeah, and when they did have the ball, they did have like 40 minutes or 35 minutes in the second half of just constant pressure.
Right, but that was after Osorio brought on more defenders. At
Yeah.
one point, at the end of the game, Mexico had 6 defenders on the field.
Oh yeah, I remember because they brought on. Who'd they bring on?
The only offensive player they brought on was Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Jimenez, a big guy for the box so he can hit hitters. And then they brought on Marquez, and they brought on the kid from America, the 20-year-old center defensive mid center back.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so they just they had decided to shut up shop, and hey, credit to Osorio, it worked.
Yeah, it definitely did.
But I think the big teams are gonna come out of the gate strong again.
Mm-hmm.
I think England and Belgium are probably gonna book their place this round. I don't know. I think Brazil should win. Argentina is probably gonna win, and I think it's gonna kind of go back to normal. France won but barely won. I think France is gonna show a better showing, and yeah, I think it's gonna get better. I think it's gonna get better. The games.
I think so too. I think we're gonna see some of the bigger teams not struggle as much.
Yeah.
I could still see. I think Brazil might struggle against Serbia. I just have that feeling.
I do too. That I mean, it all depends on which Brazil comes out to play Serbia.
Yeah.
Is it the Brazil that we've been seeing in these friendlies, or is it the Brazil that we saw in that first game?
Yeah.
Because those were two completely different teams.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe Uruguay will struggle with Russia.
And I think one of the problems for Brazil was though, putting Coutinho in that center midfield position, kind of left them open.
Yeah. Yeah, because Coutinho's not defensive at all.
Yeah, and so like I get it that you want Coutinho in there, but Coutinho, one, he's not that defensive. Two, he's not like a center mid pivot player. So he's not gonna knock the ball around. He's not gonna. He's there. He's a cam. He's a center attacking mid or a left winger, and his only goal is to go forward, score goals, get through balls, get assists. But you're not gonna see Coutinho like taking the play like a Iniesta or like he's not that kind of a player. He's a different kind of a player, and he scored a great goal. But like Willian, you didn't see him do much.
Right.
And Switzerland they soaked up the pressure. They I was watching Spain versus Switzerland. It was a friendly, and it was also 1-1. And the commentator was saying like Spain played so well in that game, but again Switzerland just held them. The commentator was saying like this is great preparation for Switzerland because they're going to do the same thing against Brazil. And hey, it worked. They did.
Yeah.
They did the same thing against Brazil.
And then one more topic before we go on to if anything's changed for our picks. Again, we're going to bring up VAR. This is the first World Cup with VAR. It's very important to talk about.
Yeah.
So, there were a lot of issues that we've seen in the first round and a couple games of round 2.
Yeah.
But overall, do you think VAR has been a success
Do I think it's...
so far?
I think it has the potential to be a success. I know I'm like kind of changing your words around a little, but I don't think it's like a fail. Like it's not a failed concept. It's not as if I bet like there's always that phase, the kind of the breaking it in phase, that happens. And I think that's what was happening this World Cup. It was it's a new thing,
Yeah.
It's been slowly being introduced here and there. And is it going to be useful in the future? Yes. But, they got to find a way to streamline it better, make it a little bit quicker if possible. Have the people like getting those decisions out a little faster.
So we don't see what happened like against Korea.
Yeah, and like get those decisions out faster, and if you think there's doubt, like do it straight away. And also, because there is VAR, they should also be calling the kind of things like that happened to Harry Kane, because he got wrestled down in the box twice. Like VAR, no VAR, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
And a good referee is looking at the box during a corner, and he sees one guy throw the other guy to the ground. Come on, man. Like, what? You see, like, Sunday League referees call those,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think for VAR to be a success, and really, if we want to use VAR and they really want to use it, it's gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
The England game was pretty bad. The Korea game was pretty bad. I think there was one more game that was pretty bad with VAR. But besides that, VAR had been pretty quick and pretty streamlined.
Yeah.
And it was used very well.
I mean, it saved some teams too.
Yeah, definitely it saved.
Disallowed goals and like stuff like that, like goals that you would have never known. And like I like technology coming into soccer. It's long overdue.
But we can't have this turn into
NFL.
the NFL. I was
Where
at a
there's,
college game years ago where
Yeah.
the review of a play, not even a touchdown, a play took literally 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like, just keep the game going. We don't want to see like 7-8 minutes of added time
Yeah.
after a game just because there were like 3 or 4 big VAR decisions. I mean, referees have been getting 99-ish% of the decisions right. 99.9 something percent is the decisions referees get right. We always talk about those 0.004% or whatever it is. It's like over 99% referees get over 99% decisions right. So, in my opinion, like, had you asked me before VAR came in, would I have wanted it? No. I have never been too much of a fan of like having instant replays in a game like soccer, sport like soccer. I mean, I love the goal line technology. That's amazing. A lot of teams that would have helped a lot of teams in the past.
Yeah, but that's instant.
Yeah, that's instant. There's a sensor. But with VAR, just I don't know. Some of the things are just so, and these linesmen, I feel like it's gonna make them lazy now.
Yeah.
Because linesmen are told not to call offside unless they're sure about the offside, and like then what's even the point of the referee anymore?
Yeah.
Why don't we just have people watching the game on a screen and just have one referee out there, to kind of talk about the game, and all decisions are then done by those guys watching it on the screen. Because honestly, when I'm watching a game, I am a lot of times better than a referee at making decisions because I can see everything.
Yeah.
Because like, you see it when we're watching games, we're calling the offside before the referee ever calls the offside.
Yeah.
The Roma-Liverpool game, like in the Champions League, I remember there was a handball that wasn't called, and I remember we were sitting together. I was like, yeah, that's a handball, and like it didn't look too much like a hand, but you kind of see it his hand. They did the replay; it was a handball. Referees didn't see it. Roma could have gone through. So, it's like if the decisions are still not being made and there's still bad decisions being made, then what's the point of VAR?
Yeah.
If you're still not making those decisions, if like Harry Kane can still keep getting back to Harry Kane because that just baffles my mind. It blows my mind. I saw that happen from like in that crowd while watching the game. I saw Harry Kane get thrown to the ground, and I'm like, penalty, and just before that, that guy ran into Kyle Walker's arm and got a penalty, and now you're telling me someone throws this dude to the ground, their best striker, and you're not gonna give a penalty?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, it's just we need to see more consistency from the VAR.
It almost felt like rigged or something against
exactly.
England.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely need to see more consistency from the VAR if this is going to stick around. I mean, we're no one that's going to make the decisions, but if I was someone in the FIFA committee, this is something. If you really want to use this, it's got to be a little bit better.
It does.
All right. With the last few moments that we have left in the podcast, has anything changed for you, pick wise?
Has anything changed for me of who's coming out of the groups? I don't think I gave a substantial answer for the Brazil group, so I think it's Brazil-Serbia, which I also had on my bracket.
Mm-hmm. But do you have any changes, like maybe who's winning the World Cup?
Who's winning the World Cup?
Based off of the first week
Oh,
of how
man.
teams are playing.
I think the favorites, I think the second week is going to tell more, but Spain look really good. Portugal just look like they could possibly win any game. They just look like a team that might not dominate, might not do anything, and Ronaldo scores one goal, and they'll all just sit back. And France, not convincing. Argentina, not convincing. Brazil, not convincing. Germany, not convincing. Mexico, pretty good. England and Belgium, both very convincing, which I've been like thinking about from the beginning. Like Belgium is most people's dark horse. England is my dark horse. And I think England can go far in this tournament if they can keep that same intensity that they had for about 60 minutes of that game. They can keep that the whole time. England could go far. They could. The way Brazil played, the way Argentina played, the way Germany played, that England would beat those teams. Wouldn't you think so?
No, I definitely
like
think
that England, that Belgium would beat even France, even Uruguay. That England would beat those teams. So right now, I'd say my top teams would be Spain, Portugal, England, and Belgium. Like they probably played the best so far. And maybe Mexico right around the corner. And Uruguay, weird. They've been they're churning out results.
Yeah, that's all they're able to do is just get a result.
And you know what? That's all you need, though.
Yeah, it really
you can win the World Cup scoring like. You can score 3 goals, win all your group games, and then go 0-0 throughout the World Cup after that, and win every game on penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is a possibility. You could win a World Cup. Not even with that. You could win a World Cup scoring 1 goal. You score 1 goal, and then you get 0-0s throughout the tournament, and you keep winning on penalties. Like, it is possible for a team without playing great football to win a World Cup, as long as their defense is strong.
Yeah.
And we've seen that before, and, you know, we'll see again.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of these teams aren't convincing. I wasn't really convinced on Spain or Portugal coming into the World Cup, but now I'm a little bit more convinced.
Yeah, they look strong.
Definitely.
I can see them beating any of those other teams that drop points.
Yeah, and definitely. And I think I really have to throw Mexico up there because this is the first. I've watched a lot of Mexican soccer. This is the first World Cup that I felt that we actually have a chance to not just go far but win it. Like before, it was like, oh, okay, Mexico, yeah, we're cheering for Mexico, but do we really think they're gonna win?
And Osorio's been saying that too.
No, you know.
Osorio's been saying, hey. Forget about the semis. Forget about the quarters. No, we're
gonna go win.
We're gonna go
win this thing.
We're gonna go to the end, and that's the mentality you have to even get close.
Yeah, and especially now with this confidence of beating the best team in the world, that is Germany. Mexico right now, they're feeling like they can beat the world, and they look like they can do it.
Yeah.
You know, so that might be that's my dark horse to win the World Cup now, Mexico.
I think, but we'll see what they do against Korea and Sweden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see.
They're one of the, you know how they are.
Yeah, will they go down to their level or will they just dominate them?
Yeah, and will Osorio like get it right again, or will he mess up?
Yeah, maybe he tinkers too much.
Because when you tinker that much, there's always a chance that you mess up.
Yep, exactly. So there's a lot of football to be played. Lot of football to be played. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll be back with round 2 in the next podcast once the round 2 is ended, which should be a lot of interesting games again, and we'll know a lot better who's for sure in which big teams are maybe struggling. There might be big teams who have to win the last game to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like one more draw for any of those teams that drew, and then it's all in the air.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of football to be played, a lot of exciting football to be seen. We're going to see a lot of great games in the next week, just in round 2. I can't even think about week 3 yet. But thank you everyone for joining us this week on the BAM Banter podcast, the soccer edition with me, Raxon, and your other host, KP. We'll see you all next week.